Hey everyone, my name is Kabi and today I am gonna show you the game between the dark and the light, and it's been held on one of the new maps that we added recently to the 1v1 mode. It was recently present in the team games, and now it's been added for the duels too. And on this map, met one of the two strongest players in the right bottom corner. As the red dark player appears Zvei, who we already seen previously playing as light mostly, but now he's been playing dark. And in the top left corner, as the blue light player plays Dyna, he mostly mains the light faction, and so he does in this particular match. So let's see what the players will come up with, but we already know that Zvei is preparing his new guide. He's been the YouTube author and he's preparing the Goblins guide, so it would make sense him to play Goblins to at least learn more about the build orders of this race and how to better play it. What we currently see is he's doing pretty much the most standard micro build as per right now, going up to 9 workers, Rex, Big T and the second Citadel, and the same build order is being performed by Dino, who also has the 9 workers, and Rex, Farm, and the second tier of the castle. Previously Dino also played, always tend to play the Elven tree with the, a lot of time ago he preferred 2 barracks, then switched off to the hero altar, but recently we noticed him to be playing Human Monument with the Sanctuary more often, in order to use the movability and speed of the knights, and then to heal them with the healers to replenish damage they may get out there fighting for the important objects such as the watchtowers and the early chests. So we'll see how he gonna play that off. But now he just comes into the dark player's base and sees that they choose the Goblin Lab this time around. Here comes the Knight along with the healer, and it seems that the Swordsman's been killed, so that's quite an unfortunate thing to happen to the light player, but that happens sometimes too, and it frees a little bit of food for him, but he actually already has a second farm, so not really willing to do that, I guess. He keeps controlling the watchtowers, but now the dark player advances on the closer watchtower to take it back. And also it's 1 minute to go before the little chests, which appear in the top right and bottom left corner of this map, near these bridges. So here comes the first knight. It seems that he's about to harass his enemy. By the way, for some reason the main building of the dark player was appearing under the ground. It is a difficult bug to fix, so we are of course aware of it, and we already fixed the different appearances of that many times, but it still finds its ways to come back. So here it came again, but the fight continues. Someday we'll preserve, I guess. But now the knight comes, but Zvei very wisely left an alchemist behind, so alchemist has been able to defend him off. But meantime, Diana captures the buff little chest, so 800 resources comes to his pocket, up to his name, and here he sees Zwei adding the second goblin lab, which is an interesting thing. Probably he's gonna take up to the fast rocketeers, but honestly it doesn't really make many sense to me, because I don't really feel how fast rocketers can be useful, apart from maybe against the ballistas or mass archers, but nobody really play mass archers anymore in this meta, because they've been nerfed like 6 times already, and we are not really willing to make archers strong again, honestly, because we really like a position where archers are being just a counter unit to some air, but not playing the role of the core unit really. So we really feel it's fine for them to be where they are. Anyway, here comes the orc totem along with the second altar. And what about Dino? He's taken up to the Sanctuary 2 as well as the Elven Tree 2, and that means that he's gonna play the Wind Mages. Here both players, it seems, are about to make to start their mana well. Dino has already taken his, and Zwei is starting his own. I'm gonna use the Alchemist ability probably. And what about his base? He's almost got the Orc Chief and also X-Masters joining the fight too, but currently dwelling in the base. Probably he was expecting the knights to come for harass, and it is nearly what happens, but Diana just made a rotation and send knights over the top part of the map and say the princess over the bottom one. Actually, Diana could have killed a lot more if he just used the ability into the workers, and so he does, but it was completely off the place. Also because he was trying to micro in the 2 different places at the same time, and it didn't really work well. But anyways, princess is alive, half HP, can be really restored quickly with the 3 healers that Diana has. And here comes the paladin, the second hero, and Diana is about to be supply gapped relatively soon, because he's already up 81 foot. And Zwei is even higher than that, but his army supply is being really packed with those goons, which is actually standard, because playing goons and alchemist is one of the basic styles that the dark users use mostly. Here come the Citadel 4, because Zwei is already almost supply cap 2, as I mentioned, and he remembers about getting that 4th tier to be able to get a 4th farm. But Diana currently is not doing that, is not upgrading the main building, so he actually tends to forget about the 4th tier, as well as adding more production sometimes. So it is what I'd call the weaker part of his play. I really saw a lot of games of this player, so he's better than me. He usually wins the games against me if he plays seriously, but when you watch the game as the observer, it is easier to pick up the mistakes. So it seems so clear that it is something he's lacking, but that doesn't really mean that you can face off and beat him at the same time. But that's fine. I guess that anyone who tried to watch the game of the strong players in RTS already witnessed this. And that doesn't confuse you guys when I come up with criticizing the good players. Still I can beat Dino on a good day. Right now. But Dino is, I think, 16 years old, so... We see children cry, but watch them grow. They learn much more than we'll ever know, guys. Napalm Tower will save the day for at least a couple of minutes for Zwei here. And here comes the perfect gravity scroll, because Wind Mages can't ever escape from here. And Zwei even uses the Alchemist ability on top of them, but actually the healers as well as the defense scroll really do a good job for Dino, and this could be a terrible fight for him, and it just turns bad. But not terrible anymore, I think, because but other Wind Mages for some miraculous account were able to survive, and Dark player had to pull back too. So it could be really much worse. And what's happening in the background is Dino at last started doing the right things, adding more different stuff. In this particular case, it is 2 factories to be able to take up 2 bikers, it seems. He also took up his barracks, and that means that he'll be having the 4 production buildings, which is quite a lot. And probably he doesn't really feel it going into the 3rd altar to get Baron, but that's fine. Probably he just doesn't want that hero. Meantime, Zwei doing a good job controlling the map. Here the goon probably advancing on the bottom chest with this difficult pathing. And the main army in the meantime pulls back to the high ground, and Dino uses this break to get back the watchtower control to his name, and that also gives Zwei information that enemy's army missing his hero. But he decided not to engage. I'm not really sure why. Well, this is now the nice movement. He rotates his goon from the chest that hasn't appeared yet anyway to the mana well, so that will give Zwei a lot of mana. He almost maxed out already, but once he starts the engagement he will spend it for something, and that's where this advantage will kick off, especially because the enemy will barely have any mana resurrection, and that is even more important, because with 1 mana well you already get something. Without any mana wells you barely have any mana, and you will not use anything within the same engagement. But anyways, Princess comes to equalize that once more. Zwei is advancing on the enemy's army, and here he comes with the X-Masters. This light army decided to apply a gravity scroll on the Wind Mage that allowed him to leave his X-Masters surviving. Uses the Alchemist ability, Rocketer starts to rocket. What else could he do, actually? And here comes the Meteor, I'm not sure from who. Dino used that one. Didn't really kill a lot, only a couple of goons, so could have done better. And at the same time, the 2 chests appear. It seems that both are unsecured now, The Fox Rider will secure the top one for Dino, and the Eater finishes off the Guardsman, and here come the three bikers on the top side of this engagement, killing off the Rocketeer. Here comes another Meteorite, killing the two X-Masters, and bikers killing the remaining, and here it turns terrible for the Dark Army. Everything goes down because bikers are so quick to reinforce right on the battlefield, and now the Dark Heroes are having a hard time. But here is the saving high ground, and the Alchemist throwing his ability to cover the retreat, and Dino decided not to go into this dangerous area, so he pulls back, recapturing the map control, and also here stands the chest, so it could be it would be cool if Dino would remember about that, to capture it with something mobile. And here comes the Fox to get the mana well from the trees, so really well played by the light player. Oh, another building is under the ground. It happens often in this version, I must admit it, so we need to place our attention on this fact probably. And you guys, if you ever witness this in the game, you may want to join our Discord to report the bug, and we can react it the fastest way. The fastest way is in Discord, and in our video description there is the link, so if you want to help, make sure to join. Here comes the Meteor, but Zwei is very quick reacting with the defending scroll, and he started doing the Paladin under the Eater stun, and Eater is perfectly connecting with the two bikers. At the same time, Princess is receiving quite a bit of damage from those two heroes, and two X-Masters, even three X-Masters, barely survives and had to escape, and it seems that Dino didn't have enough to finish the Dark player here. And he still controls both of the mana towers. In meantime, Zwei secured the second base to his name, starting to mine the gold, and the second gold mine is already even more depleted than the main one, but that is because the second mine is very little. It only has 15k, and even though Dino didn't even start it yet, haven't even started it yet, he already has he still has less here, but Zwei's anyway having a lot more gold to mine right now. Not to mention all those chests, but actually the recent chests were mostly taken by the light player. Here is the interesting account because Dino is trying to hide his Fox Rider in the woods, and because of that Zwei had to use the all-seeing eye 2 times in a row. Here comes the bomber. Not really a lot of damage out of that unit, but still a nice episode. And the Rocketeer doesn't really do a lot of damage, but it always looks so fancy when the Rocketeer fires his rockets in the sky, especially when it's a long distance to fire. I really love Rocketeers just because of the visuals. Anyways, Dino keeps pressing. I'd also consider adding snipers, because they really helpful against those beefy dark heroes, as well as against the X-Masters actually. I think that snipers against X-Masters are the matchup in favor of the light, so the trick is how you do with the remaining things. And snipers, they are good when in the right position. Dyna is quick enough to activate the Dome of the Light. And here comes the Rockfall, the 2x Masters being taken down. Rocketer shoots for nothing because Paladin already went down too. Zve is using the defense scroll, and since Diana lost his Paladin, he decided to pull back. Not sure if it's really a good call. And the chest is still here, and now Diana remembers about that, sending one healer over that place. Well, the light player doesn't really have anything to deal with this Napalm Tower fast. And probably that's where a Baron Bombardier could be helpful. But Diana's still not willing to get him, adding Paladin once more, not upgrading his Altar of Heroes. And what's for Zve, he's adding the Venom Speeder. We saw him upgrading those buildings when we can't really see it, unfortunately, but we know it's the second tier, so it's been able to produce the Venom Speeders. Well, zombies are fine, right? Even though it's in the ground, who cares? Zombies are fine being produced from such a building, but Venom Speeders might have a hard time trying to get out of there. Anyway, Dinos has got the 20-minute mark chests. It's 3 minutes to go until the next one. Princess is about to get the watchtower back. And here comes a little interesting piece of micro. What happening here is Princess is not being able to shoot for more than a particular sector. So if the unit is running around her, she has to stop the attack cycle and start turning after her target. So if the target keeps running, the princess keeps turning and she never can fight. It is an interesting part of the princess mechanics that the stronger players discovered. It is not really intended to be like this, but it is just what happens because she can't fire anywhere, and you can use it if you are quick enough. So it is not a bug, really. It is not something forbidden. It is just an interesting part of how the hero works, and that's it. But hero also can survive when trying to run through the Dark Army. Another rockfall out of Dino. Zve is not fast enough with the defense this time around, and even though here is the alchemist ability all over this fight, I'm not really a fan of how it goes really for Zve, and I think that the restoration scroll is not something that is really useful in this particular case. Those three healers are really good keeping this paladin alive, and in the meantime Dino's trying to take down the catapults, but those three heroes don't really let the bikers to sit on those catapults, so bikers have to come back. And the catapults are not really accurate anymore to be always able to hit their target, so they miss and they miss again. You can notice that. But now they finally hit the biker, and those bikers from the right part of the engagement come back to finish off the catapults. Of course, alchemist ability can't heal them because they are not alive, they are mech, so it's not working. It also not working for undead, as you are probably aware. In the meantime, Chief has been able to use his circle strike. I guess we call that it, the circle strike. which adds a regeneration to the orc hero. Paladin still alive, another Dome of the Light being used, but not anymore because nobody was able to heal him because of the Venom Spectre, and the Venom Spectre is trying to take down a healer. Wind Mage also having a hard time. And the Zvei is advancing on the top side of the map, but at the same time Biker comes to recapture the mana well, but see how good this worker is! He can win this duel against the Biker! What a worker! He should be at least the next Masters, probably, if not the Chief, but we already have the Chief and it keeps advancing. And here is the light base already, not a long distance to pull back, so Dino really has to think out something. Probably the first could be a good idea to pull back to the Dwarven Forge to get a bit of a free repairing. More Bikers reinforced too. Princess tried to take down catapults, but that's not really working because of the magic damage type. Princess has her fan of arrows. Two X-Masters go down, Bikers advance from the main base, another catapult go down, Meteor for nothing, and it seems that Dinah is fine defending this. Well, honestly, the Dark player still has three heroes alive, but it seems like it's not for long, and they're also not quick, and this is what players often mention, that the Dark Heroes are mostly supports, even though they deal a good damage, of course, because they are, well, they are heroes, but they can't really engage the bases on their own. And that, I think that's pretty much why it feels like they're support. They can't just take down the base like the Baron can, for example. Of course, they can if you just sort of leave the base against them, but usually you also do something, right, to defend. Anyways, they decided to use the Resurrection of the Hero, a good scroll that not many players use often, but sometimes it can be really useful because you want a hero back on the battlefield with his ability ready, and it is the very important part of the ability ready, because if you don't use it right away, then you lose a half of the scroll for nothing, and that's pretty much what happened in this fight. So even though it was an interesting call, I don't really think it worked. And here Eater trying to take down Paladin, but for some reason, okay, it's not dealing damage because the Dome of the Light been able to work in between the hits. We think about tuning it, honestly, so that the target would not be able to do anything between the hits, because it causes a lot of bad experience, which just look bad, like this Dome working without effects, or if Bombardier firing without animation, a lot of stupid visuals. So I think we will remove that, but currently it's still working. So something might happen between the strikes of the Eater in the ability. Well, that is because with leveling up, he starts attacking faster, and stun is being longer, and the higher level Eater will not able to escape, while the lower level Eater might let the target able to escape. But there's still a lot of bad looking things happen because of that, so probably not worth it. Here comes the Meteor, another time where Paladin tried to use the light, but this time unsuccessful. But what about Biker's Micro? It is very successful out on Dinah. Wind Mage is also doing a good job. See how much damage this unit's been dealing. Also, the restoration scroll is working very good this time around. Dino focusing down X Masters, but this wasn't really good out of him. He let the chief to use the circle strike, but I didn't really get it why there is no there is no regen icon above him. This is really weird, honestly. Probably I should review this if I remember, if I don't forget it. Oh, that catapult was somewhat accurate, hitting this moving target. Those moving targets took down a slave to recapture the watchtower, but won't work this time around. And also another chest. They keep looting the top chest with his walker. And here comes the Fox Rider to acquire another one. Wood income not really arranged too good. Sawmill somewhere around here would be helpful probably. Or even you may just wanna get a cut wood in some other place, but they not really paying attention to this. And same does Dino. But he mostly mine gold. And what for Zvei, he already mined this out like totally. It is 0 gold on this mine and 4k on this mine. And Dino still has almost 9k and 4k. So he still has a lot to mine. And Zvei is just already mined it, so he already has it in the bank. But he's not really winning, but I'd say he has the upper hand, because he can even trade the workers also. That's maybe, by the way, that's maybe a really interesting point. So once he mined out, he should probably trade off the workers to let to get more battle units, to get a big army. Because why would you need those workers if you don't repair catapults or something? But at least he already uses his workers for different purposes, such as getting the chest and even the mana wells. As we see, the worker again has entitling like this to try to get the mana well back. And the Venom Speeder scouting. They once more seeking for the fight. Okay, this worker wasn't really lucky. He could kill a biker, but Fox Rider's the different beast. Okay, a good gravity on those 2 wind mages, and Dino decided he's not fighting for it, so he just gives the 2 wind mages away. But he has 3 bikers to probably do some harassment to his enemy, because there are 2 towers in the front but nothing in the background, so nothing can really save those workers and those buildings from this little run by. But that also means that the main army is missing the 3 bikers, which is 21 foot. So that's quite a lot. They of course start in the engagement, because he understands that too. And catapults starting going burr. Oh, taking those defending buildings with catapults would make a lot of sense if they can arrange that. Of course Dino will try to prevent it. Hitting the buildings is not a light task anymore, but here catapults are quite accurate. Here comes the meteor as well as the defense 2 catapults still go down, but one remaining alive. This wind mage will not survive for long, and the catapult, along with the drill, take down the tower of the light magic, and all the army take down the artillery tower relatively quick. Dark armies seem to be nearly okay still, because there are still the 3 heroes and a couple of X-Masters and the drill and the catapult and the venom speeder. A lot of different units. It is always harder to micro such armies. And here finally come the sniper. By the way, in the meantime, those 3 bikers just totally killed everything. The 2 pixies and all the workers that were working in the main base. So if Zwei couldn't decide if he was gonna spend his workers or not, then Dino helped him to decide that. And in the meantime, snipers and artillery tower took down the alchemist, but Zwei got him back with a scroll, so the alchemist is alive again, but it seems that it's not for long. At least he was able to use an ability to take down a sniper, but still everything goes down. Dino's been able to defend this off, and he still has those 3 snipers harassing the Zwei's base, doing a total massacre here. But actually it's not that dangerous, because those X-Masters will move out from the barracks and clean this up. But I think that they really did a mistake with reinforcing, because it seems that he wasn't getting units during all that long fight. And that is, of course, always a terrible mistake in RTS. No matter what's happening in an engagement, you has to really be getting the units. If you don't get the units, you are a noob. That is just a basic stuff. So between getting the new units and microing the existing one, almost always the right option will be getting the new units. Well, in War Legend it is probably not always like this, because our game is very micro-oriented, so sometimes you really have to micro, because otherwise you will lose like everything for nothing. But still you have to open the tab and press that freaking cards, or you will be losing everything for Demon 3 bikers. Zwei isn't even mined out because of that, because his workers were killed, but it is only 800 to go, so he doesn't really need a lot to mine that. But in the meantime, Dino's already almost mined his second base. His main base is 0, obviously. And he uses the all-seeing eye to figure out what's happening. Have I won this one so far? I think that is pretty much what Dino has in his mind, because I mean, he like killed everything in the base and also won the main trade. So what's wrong? Why are you even in the game, dude? That what I'd be thinking is, if I'd be light in this position. I'm not sure how good is Dino in understanding what's happening. That Zwei was so quick to mining everything, so he still has a lot on pocket to literally build everything 3 times in a row, straight up. So now he does a good fight. Bikers are awesome, but what's bad about bikers is that they don't really trade good. I mean, they don't really do a good straight trades. So if you want to fight straight, you probably want to build something else, like ballistas, guardsmen, probably Barin, probably snipers. Those are the units that can trade. I don't think that bikers really work if you do a double tap, and if you think that they will trade for a good war. They won't. So you really has to strike and pull back and repair and do a lot of annoying things. I'm not really fond of playing bikers. I mean, I like it, but it just doesn't work, you know. And it happens in the game eventually that you are being like, all right, I'm killing you, dude, and then you die. So that's why I don't really like to play bikers, because I don't really like dying in the end. But okay, let's see what will happen here, because Dino's attacking from the right side, while partially the army of Zvei is engaging the towers instead of fighting this. Now he realizes that, so he tries to pull those guys back. But Chief's doing a great job, and Alchemist too, and the Venom Speeders are... well, it was so-so in terms of Venom Speeder, but otherwise X-Master is doing great, catapults firing and probably even hitting something like this. And when the smoke is going down, it seems that the fight was quite okay for the Dark player. Eater running around trying to hit what he can. I'm not sure if the Eater is really he. We are not about to make a Twitter statement about the gender of the Eater, I believe. So you can guess wherever you like. But definitely it's time to control this watchtower, and probably this one too, if they will have something to reinforce with. He uses Eater to take the watchtower. In the meantime, the other guys try to heal on the amount that the Alchemist ability might grant. Good position to cut down a couple of bikers, but Dino 2 cuts a good trajectory. Zvei still looting the chests, by the way. And now it is even more important. Dino's been doing it in the middle of the game, while there were still two mines to mine, you know. But now there are no gold on the map, so chests are crucially important. And Zvei is starting this attack. Actually, this position is not even important because he's basing mine out, but Zvei just wants to kill those buildings, but probably he shouldn't fight the buildings and the army at the same time, because the buildings really do a lot of damage. And here comes the sniper, firing the different things. He's about to finish the Eater anytime now, and the Eater goes down. Now the sniper's trying to attack the X-Masters, and those go down too. And now the third target is the Chief, but it is probably just a little bit too much. So the sniper is about to be massacred by the 3 heroes, but that Chief is going down anyway from the Prince's hand, not being able to finish off the Alchemist, because Alchemist did the crit damage first. And a couple of X-Masters to reinforce with. Still Dino's been able to cut off the Alchemist. One more catapult trying to hit something, not really successful at that. And more units reinforcing all over the map. This right watchtower is still out of control of Zvei, and this left one is now not controlled either. Masters recapture the mana well in the meantime, and it is 3 seconds to go for the chest, and here they come. And Zwei gets bought again, and that means that Dino is pretty much running out of money because he already has slightly above 3k to work with and he's not even maxed out. Zwei starting an attack again, but not really defending the catapults. And once again the towers really do a lot of damage. I don't really feel this fight for Zwei like entirely, to be honest. This now is a good active ability from the Eater, stunned 2 targets at the same time. Biker still able to escape, but Paladin receiving a lot of damage. Eater joining, but honestly it didn't give the Dark player anything. He just was spending all of his hero's lifetime to beat this tank, and this tank still survived now under the Dome of the Light. So in the end of the day we see that it wasn't a good call, honestly. A little more units to work with, but a little more units to lose, honestly. Well, Dino decided not to advance on this. Probably he's right, I'm not sure. He lost his Paladin, which wasn't able to escape. Well, at least Dino will be able to max out one more time. With the Bikers, you still have a little more resources to build the things. Zwei forgot about his workers. They could be mining the wood, cutting the wood at least. He doesn't really have a lot of wood, but probably he will run out of gold first. So. Well, currently no, because there is 5k and 2k, but those 3 are still worth it, so probably not a problem. Anyway, Zwei is maxed out right now, and he's advancing in the very same position once again. I'm really not sure about this. Probably he should have fought on the main, just the main base. So this doesn't really mean anything. So there's no purpose for fight for this. It's even more purpose to fight just for the mana well, but not for that position. It doesn't contain anything. There's no gold. Well, there is wood, but wood is all over the map, so what's the deal? I don't really get it, but it's like a psychological point, it seems. But also, of course, the well, okay. The well point is fine, but he could just attack it and not the top position. In the meantime, Princess fighting the Eater. Eater gives us the active ability, but now pulling back, and here is the terrible fight for the light player. Can become better with this Meteor, but the defense scroll is on time once again, so all the X-Masters survive, but they are low, and the Alchemist ability is on the cooldown right now, and the Chieftain goes down, but there is mana to resurrect it, and so does the Dark player. And the Light player decided to pull back once more. Venom's pictures come back too. Here is the Worker protecting the mana well from recapturing by the Fox Rider mostly. And Venom's pictures do vision, give vision, so that the catapult can start firing the tower, hitting it for almost all its HP, but can't really make a second hit because catapult is not that accurate anymore. We made it less accurate in the previous balance patch, and now that we saw this episode, we thought that it was probably too much and we could make it slightly more accurate, because catapult can't really hit that demon tower, because the tower is very small building, a very small building, only 2 squares, and catapult is just too inaccurate to hit it on a regular basis. So we'll tune it in the next balance patch, most likely. And here Dino trying to focus fire the catapults to prevent taking his defending buildings for nothing, because he wanna trade under those buildings to get the upper hand in the fight. But it still works, as you see, the catapult still can't take down the poor tower. Here comes the rockfall from the light player. It did damage, it did significant damage, but still the units are alive. So rockfall currently is a questionable scroll, I'd say. But its main feature that it attacks air, but whenever there's no air, I'm not sure if it's worth it. One more resurrection for the chief, but the dino is 63 gold, completely mined out. You can't get any more units, and he is running off any battle limit, and it seems that they rolling all of his army and securing this game up to his name. More than 50 minutes of the constant pushing, or almost constant pushing of the opponent, and finally the dark player with such army compositions as the 3 heroes, X-Masters, Catapults, Venom Spitters and rare Rocketers take the light army with the Bikers, the Wind Mages, Heroes and also a couple of Snipers. A good game to see, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and once more Dino losing in the very spectacular game, so we are thankful to him and to you to join us this time around, and make sure to sub that channel so that you don't miss the next video, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you for watching and bye bye.